And once again, thank you so much for being with us for the Viking Coaches Show. Again, sponsored here at Big Mike's Coffee Shop. We appreciate the use of their facility here as a studio to kind of take it over for our coaches shows a little bit. We try to keep just to a little space to ourselves here, but we're very grateful to Mike and Jackie Nelson and their sponsorship and their support of Avery Athletics, football, fall sports, winter sports, spring sports, just their passion and excitement about local sports, and we appreciate their support and allowing us to come here to film. We also appreciate, of course, Johnson Entertainment, Johnson Staging, Kenny Johnson and his group. If you need something staged, they'll take care of you. When it comes to concerts, any kind of events, outdoor events, indoor, I'm sure you can do some things there as well. Set up the lights for our players for pregame, the red light, just that pregame lineup atmosphere. We can thank him for that, and we appreciate Kenny's sponsorship with the coaches shows each week here during the basketball season. Of course, here with Coach Allison Phillips, Lady Vikings head coach, varsity program, and you brought a guest with you. I know you had your son with you last week. I know this isn't your son all grown up. I know we haven't been that long since we talked.
Valentine's Day episode.
There we go.
Me and assistant coach Sam Phillips.
Yeah, bring Sam Phillips, of course, Allison's husband, assistant on the team as well. Welcome for being here. We've seen you on the baseball diamond. We see you on the basketball floor. You're a little bit of everywhere with the school system and with the teams. So, again, appreciate all the work that you do. Appreciate your work. Let's talk a little bit, if you would, about the games last week, or this week, I should say. I had games on Monday and Tuesday after a long layoff. You have these 2 weeks where you've been able, you mentioned last week a little bit about getting in the gym, the girls still getting shots up and trying to stay sharp. But it's hard to replicate game action, and especially when you're thrown right into such a competitive contest with Mountain Heritage on their floor. Can you speak just a little bit about kind of the ebbs and flows of that game? I know it was close most of the way through. You kept it, there was a couple of points where they built a little bit of a lead, but then you all would kind of make a run and come back. I know the game ended up being like a 3-point difference, but can you speak just a little bit generally about the game and anything specifically you felt like was a difference maker in that game with the Cougars?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think the game came down to two things. It came down to offensive rebounding and free throws, and we didn't really execute as well on those two aspects of it. We did a really great job defending their first look, and then and Heritage is it's a different Heritage team. This is a team that plays from the outside in, and you're used to Heritage playing from the inside out.
Right.
And they take a lot of long shots and a lot of long threes, and sometimes those bombs are the rebound is really, really long, and I thought we did a good job controlling the paint for the most part, but we didn't get our hands on a lot of long rebounds, and that ended up giving them second chance opportunities, and you can't give a Heritage team second chance opportunities. The only real points that were scored for them were on second chance points, and that killed us. Ultimately we left about 8 free throws out there. That would have been a huge difference maker in the game. And there was rust there. We knew there was going to be some rust there, and they're a team that I believe is playing their best basketball right now. We got to get back to playing our best basketball.
Yeah, you mentioned free throws, and I think about the fact that Caroline was able to penetrate into the paint a lot, and she was hacked quite a bit. And we've spoken earlier in the season just about the work she's put in the weight room, about getting stronger when you get in the paint and being able to withstand those blows and draw fouls and get to the line. Yeah. But again, getting to the line is one thing, but converting there is the other part. And I think not just in the individual, but as a team, it seemed like that was a real struggle on Monday night.
Yeah, and rarely does Marley ever miss free throws. Rarely does Hallie ever miss free throws. And they both missed a couple. Down the stretch. And Caroline did a great job. She kept us in the game. Ultimately, if you take Caroline off the floor, we're not in that game. She's fearless when it comes to playing them. She knows she can score. They know that she can score. She did a great job in the first quarter. She had 11 points in the first quarter. Really felt like we were doing a good job letting her kind of do her thing and continue to go at them. They obviously made adjustments and kind of got a little bit quieter in the second quarter. Third quarter, she ramped it back up and was able to penetrate, get some foul calls on them. But, she's a kid, and she thinks a lot about her free throws. She's a great shooter. I think it's a little bit more of a mental game for her right now, but it was good to see those ones at the end go in where we desperately needed it. And I think she's on a good trajectory shooting-wise from here on out. We just got to keep, pumping confidence into her. Free throws are a mental game. They're a mental game, and she's a great player, and that's probably the one aspect of her game that's continuing to grow, but it's getting there, and she'll be fine down the stretch.
Talk a little bit about the game then on Tuesday over in Ledger with the Lady Mountaineers. Now, that was a team that you all handled very, very, very well in the first matchup, and you did again on Tuesday night. And it seemed like defensively there was a little bit of a switch turn from everything I understand about the matchup. And they had their struggles as well. Mitchell feeling that kind of struggle with trying to put shots in the basket as well. What do you feel like was the difference between the two matchups, aside from just the teams and the talent you faced? But what do you feel like from the perspective of your team was different?
I thought defensively, for the most part, we did really good in the Heritage game. You know, we were able to turn them over a lot. The biggest thing is, you know, same thing in story as Hendersonville. Turnovers are one thing, but when you can't convert them into points, that's where it struggles. You know, we had 4 opportunities right at the end of that game to win it. And, you know, that's what we kept going back to. Like, we've got to execute in those big moments and finish. You know, and there were a couple things that didn't go our way. It was a very physical game. I thought we did a great job coming out. You know, Mitchell, regardless of their record, regardless of our record, they're a rival. And records don't matter in rival games. We know that with Carolina Duke this weekend. We know that with, you know, anytime that you play them, we come out and we have to be ready to play. Losing down there last year was a big wake-up moment for us, so I don't think that we take that environment lightly. And we knew they were going to play hard. You know, they've got 2 seniors. They wanted to show out for them. And I thought we did a great job in the first half. Probably one of our best halves of basketball, just being super crisp and, you know, really efficient offensively. I think the biggest thing was just in the second half we relaxed a little bit, and then they started taking shots from half court, and it got a little, it got a little circusy, honestly. Like, and it just got to the point where I was just a little bit frustrated with, you know, we were fouling, and that's unnecessary when you have a 20-some point lead. And, you know, we just got to clean up things a little bit better. And I think that comes with just getting back in the swing of playing basketball again.
Right.
And we're going to get a lot of basketball the next 2 weeks. So we got plenty of time to clean it up.
So it looked like an NBA All-Star game without the NBA All-Stars.
Basically, yeah.
It just had the circus shots and all the crazy stuff going up. Yeah.
I mean, and it ultimately, like, that's something you don't necessarily expect, to just people just cross half court and start trying to jack up shots. Like, it is what it is, you know, whatever they want to do, that's their business. But it's just, it gets a little chaotic. And I felt like the third and fourth quarters of that game got chaotic.
Right.
And I don't like chaos for us. That's not how I want us to play. And, you know, I think we fed into that a little bit. And that's a maturity switch we've got to make sure that doesn't flip.
Another one of the emotional kind of touchstones of your bench is this guy. I know he's one who's always you hear his voice. Yeah. Sometimes even when your voice is out, he's like your surrogate voice. It sounds like a lot of times on the sidelines. And Coach, I know your experience helping with coaching other teams and involved with baseball and of course basketball as well, and just your work doing that. How did your role kind of intertwine with your wife on the floor, and what's that like as a couple working on the floor coaching together?
Well, for us, it's almost 2 lives, because it's the life we have at home and it's the life we have at school on the court, because she knows that I'm the first to call her out and we're object to something that's going on. But I also know my role as a helper and is to kind of be there for the girls, and to make sure that they understand that sometimes it's easy to get lost in in a season about when Allison comes down on their hard on, I got to be there to help them understand why. Sometimes it can be anything that's asked of me, I do. But as far as for us, for Allison and I as a coach, and it gives us a lot of things to talk about when it comes to times that we don't have kids. We drove to Knoxville one day and we got there and I was like, what did we talked the entire way about basketball, so it gives us an outlet to talk and gives us time to do that. But I will say this for myself, these girls they're like, I have 15 daughters, they're like family to us. I'm hard on them. I challenge them daily, but they know that we love them and we pour into them. I've always said, if you're going to coach them hard, you got to love them harder, and that's kind of the mantra that I live by, and that I coach by. And I wasn't able to be there Tuesday night. I was out sick, and it killed me. I think I almost broke everything in our house because trying to watch that on film and not being able to be there. So, Monday night. Sorry.
Oh, Monday. Okay.
But like I said, it's been a healthy thing, I think, for our marriage. You know, it's it's as weird as that sounds, but we get through it together.
So, with the girls, with the team, who's more the good cop? Who's more the bad cop? And how does that work?
He's definitely the good cop.
Okay, all right, he's more the good
Yeah,
cop.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
For sure.
It's definitely I'm definitely the good cop for sure. Yeah.
So the girls get you, they come running to you.
Well,
Or
you know,
they'll come confide to you.
If they have an opinion on something, or they
Okay.
don't like something that's going on, or a play call, or what we're doing at the time, But the good thing about that is it's that relationship piece is there. So they know at the end of the day that we have their best interest at heart, and that we love them, and we're going to put them above all. And I told them that yesterday. I'm really trying to ride. This team is a team that you take away each day, and you're like, man, that's one day closer to the end. And that's hard to think about, especially with senior night coming up tomorrow night. This group of seniors, the whole team, but this group of seniors are just salt of the earth, human beings. I say all the time, they're good at basketball, but they're better humans. They really are. And I told them yesterday, it's the absolute pleasure of a lifetime to coach them. Just to be around them with good people.
We do have Friday for senior night. Great segue. Appreciate that. It's almost like I paid you to do it. We've got Hendersonville Friday, and that's a team you went down and played them, and you've only had three losses, right? That's
16-3.
So 16-3, and you've got Watauga, which you avenged that one. Heritage, which you split with them, and now you have Hendersonville the second time up here. And I know that game did not go the way you all hoped it would. It was just probably a performance that you all just soon forget, but still learn lessons from. What have you learned from that game that you feel like will come into this matchup on Friday night that you feel like you guys will be able to really adjust and improve upon?
I feel like we've done a better job. I think it was a good thing for us to have to go down there and be a little bit shook. I think we've grown a lot in terms of preparing for their pressure. That is not something I thought would bother us as much as it did. But, I think luck favors the prepared. We say that a lot for them, and just making sure that we know that it's coming now. We know what they're going to try to do. We know that they tend to get out of position because they do put so much pressure, and we've got to exploit those gaps and take advantage of that. Not having Addison Dellinger was really a critical piece missing in that game for us. And I think, getting her back and having, her tomorrow night is going to be a game changer, especially defensively, because we just looked a little bit lost on defense. And I think just getting back in that good rhythm and being in our gym on senior night, those girls, I can go ahead and tell you, my juniors will die for those seniors. I know that for sure. And those seniors will do anything to do what's best for the team to win. Sure. And that's a deadly combination when you have both those things, going in your favor. So I feel very confident about us going into tomorrow night. Regardless of the outcome, they're going to play hard. We're going to give everything we got. Right. And that's all we can do is really just leave it kind of all out there on the floor. But I foresee a big crowd, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And, I'm excited to start all 5 of those seniors that have been with us for 4 years. And it's going to be exciting and a lot of fun to kind of get out there and see what happens. So.
And senior night it's a different night than any other game you'll play. And both of you having been former student athletes at Avery, probably remember senior days and senior nights. What do you take away from those times as former players that you can bring to this generation of players from y'all's experiences?
I think something we talk about a lot in the locker room is playing with emotion, but not being emotional about it. Like I've had senior nights where, there were tears way before the game ever started and and it can't really be like that,
Right.
And I think for our girls, they know that we're shaping up to get a home playoff game. So this is not the last game at home. And I think that helps when you know that there's hope of playing at home again.
Right.
So there's not a finality to that kind of feels like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to play on this court again, because I think we play our best basketball at home. We're undefeated at home this season. Knock on wood. Hopefully that
there you
stays, and we get some playoff games there. But I think the biggest thing for them is playing with the emotion that's necessary to want to play as hard as you can, give everything you have for the team, but not playing with so much emotion that you take yourself out of it mentally. And that's the balance. And, that's what we're going to be pumping into them for the next 24 hours, and just making sure that they remember that. And, at the end of the day, God's given these girls a lot of talent, and they just need to just go play their best basketball, and we'll be all right.
And the way the schedule's worked out, you get this senior night on a Friday now. I think it was originally a Tuesday, I want to say, I think, on the original schedule. So do you feel like there'll be a little extra with it being a Friday night? Do you think that makes a difference?
We talked yesterday. I talked with the girls briefly yesterday about having gratitude and being grateful for the moment. And we right now we're in the middle of chasing the conference championship. And I told them yesterday, if you're not enough without it, you'll never be enough with it. And I want them. The one thing I going into tomorrow night, I want them to understand is I want to be grateful for the moment, be grateful for their teammates, grateful for the community that's been out. And, shout out to our community for the outloving and support that we've received in the gym. I mean, there's not been a night where we've been at home where it's just not been absolutely a phenomenal atmosphere. Our student section, I mean, we have the best student section in the conference. It's not even close. I think we have, I don't know about West North Carolina, but it's unbelievable. Any place I've been, it's just, and shout out to them. They're fantastic. They're there. And, for these seniors tomorrow night, I hope they go in that game with a lot of gratitude, a lot of thankfulness. That's sometimes we forget those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
We become entitled to those things, and that's something that going forward that I really want them to understand is even as humans, is to be grateful for the things that God's give you, the talent, your families, those things. So that I'm a little bit more, I guess, on the sentimental side. This is the hard one, This is Coach A, and then there's me. So to try to put things into perspective, but it's a good balance. So
a little easier when you feel like you're going to have home games in the playoffs to say, let's not have the tears tonight.
Yeah.
Let's wait, and we'll let's soak it in when it's all over,
Right.
and kind of not say it's not important, but to try to kind of compartmentalize that type of situation and kind of where the team is and where you are. And again, you still have a lot to play for. Like I say, just 3 losses, you still have a conference championship still hanging out there. You win your last 2 games. Heritage, is at a loss, and they've had a couple, and you got Hendersonville. It'll even that up with you guys, with them. So a lot of that there, and then you go to Polk.
That would be a 3-way tie for first place tomorrow.
With a win, you all would,
With a win.
all 3
Yeah.
would be tied.
Yeah. So, and that's interesting because Heritage and Hendersonville still have to play.
Okay,
so they play on Monday night. We still have to go and take care of Polk.
Yeah.
So there's a lot out there. I think the position going into conference tournament, knowing that you could be from first to third is like a wild feeling. But I think it's setting up for some fireworks down the stretch for sure, and it's gonna be cool.
And the way, because of the weather, the conference tournament is set up, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Now, are all those games at Madison? Do y'all get to host that first round tournament game
No,
possibly?
so the first round for us is at Heritage.
Okay, all right.
Which is always interesting. But I think the higher seed would play the lower seed at Heritage. So I think number 1 overall gets a bye, and then 2 plays 6, and everything from there.
So, well, if you get that 1 seed, then
you at least get a day of rest.
Yeah, you get that extra day off. Where that Thursday you wouldn't have to play there.
Right.
Now Friday the semifinals, right? Is that also at Heritage?
That's at Madison.
Or those would be at Madison.
Semis and
Semifinals,
finals
finals.
would be
Okay.
at Madison.
Semis and finals. There's a first round there at Heritage. Okay. So there's a chance you may not have to go back and play at Heritage.
Yeah.
So that's what you're hoping for, right? We're
Yeah,
knocking on wood for
absolutely.
that as well.
Yeah.
So, but again, a lot to play for. And again, Polk is a team you can't overlook either. I mean, I know.
Especially not at Polk.
No, I mean y'all guys seem to play. You ladies seem to play down there well. It seems like that's a good place to play there. I don't know. You won a playoff game down there last year, so I know they'll be psyched for seeing you all coming up on Monday night. So.
It's and like I said too, with that, I mean, Bailey State and senior night, so you bring all that into the equation. But I really feel like I will say this team, we do so well prepping with each other. I mean, like this team does a great job of prepping. They spend so much. I can't tell you the amount of time they spend in film and on studying film by themselves. They're really, really excellent when it comes to that.
Got a lot to play for. It's exciting to see what these next couple of weeks hold. Of course, you come right off of the conference tournament and you're going right into state playoffs. So everything's
Literally, like a day turnaround.
so constricted. I mean, I know I wish I could clone myself because wrestling, state tournament, basketball, conference tournament, everything, all happening at once. But again, I wish you all the best of luck. Of course, these seniors, we wish them the best as well. Friday night, thank them for their contributions to the program. They really have been difference makers when it comes to what this program taking it to the next level.
I mean, like these seniors, they truly represent what you want a program to represent. Like they're the epitome of it. They're the epitome of teammates, and that would be something I would tell anyone to try to challenge, because there's no better teammates than those five. So.
And of course, there's always the starting your seniors, getting them out there on the floor.
Yeah.
That's a little different, but you've already done it this year, right? You've already had that opportunity to kind of do that dry run once.
Yeah.
And,
and they played very well.
Yeah.
So I feel good about them. I know anytime Emma's in the game, there's something gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
So good luck to whoever she gets picked to guard tomorrow night. It's gonna be fun. But man, just Kylie Case, they just do a really good job. They're very solid. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're very, just very solid players, and they have all the talent in the world to be able to go out there and handle themselves very well. So we're gonna be just fine.
Yep. And your JV girls, I forgot to talk about the JV boys with Coach Gage, but your JV girls got to play over at Heritage. Yeah. Finally got on the floor, and I had a chance I got a chance to talk to Austin, Coach Austin Lyons, just prior to the game a little bit, and just talk about how long it's been away, and just I said, did you forget what your team looked like? I mean, it's really been tough, but I mean, they can go out there and competing over there with Mountain Heritage, and the game they didn't get a chance to win, but they had a chance, but they weren't able to pull it out, I should say. But with just 3 teams with JV programs, it's really tough, but they had a good showing for themselves out there.
Yeah, they play hard, and I think the hardest thing for them is the health. We've got multiple girls out with injuries. Peyton Duncan broke her arm in that game. So God bless them. They've fought, and I love that. I think there's a lot of pieces on that JV team that can end up helping the varsity later on. And Callie Coffey and Chella Arnett have worked their butts off. They've done both practices. They fifth quartered, just to kind of get that experience to prep them for next year. And I think I'm really excited about this group, and I know that they can get a lot better. It's a shame that they haven't got more games. As a conference, we're going to have to figure some stuff out after this year.
Now, where are things standing for them as far as their presence in the conference tournament at this point?
Honestly, it would be a 3-way tie with them and Hendersonville and Heritage if they were to win Friday night. So it's a big game for them to be able to, at least have a coin flip or whatever to go to the conference championship, because with JV it's 1 and 2.
It's just 1 and 2.
Get the one
now,
chance,
but you did say that Heritage and Hendersonville still need to play. They need to play in JV
they
girls.
Would have to play again. Yeah. So I think so we beat Heritage the first time we played them. Hendersonville beat us. Then Heritage beat us, and I'm pretty sure Heritage beat Hendersonville. So Heritage is sitting in the money
Catbird
seat. We would have to beat Hendersonville, and then it'd be a flip between us and Hendersonville.
Okay.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, maybe. How about a free throw shooting contest?
No,
figure out something to figure that out, right?
Chella and one of their players, one-on-one.
Let's just do a shootout and just do it that. Just have 10 free throws, best of 10. That team goes on, right?
There you go. Callie Coffey would win that hands down. I can promise you.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting to see those players develop, and it's just unfortunate they haven't had as many opportunities. We've talked about this so many times already, just both on camera and off, about just something for those girls to be able to get that experience in there.
It speaks volumes how Austin does him and Lexi pour into that JV team. He does such a great job developing those girls and caring for them and doing what he needs to do. And I can't speak enough about his work and what he even does on the varsity level for us. It's unprecedented the amount of time that he spends in film and breaking down everything to the opposing for that week. He does a lot for us.
Again, come out Friday night, support the JV girls, our JV boys. Those programs will both have games this Friday, so hopefully you'll be out for that. And then, of course, the varsity games, senior night. Come support these young ladies and young gentlemen as they do play their official final regular season home game on McDonald Stadium, Burleson Court, here at Viking Gym, the Octagon. And hopefully see a good crowd on Friday night. And coaches, we wish you all the very best of luck in those games. Of course, coming up, Hendersonville, Polk, we'll be able to talk to you next week, hopefully prior to the conference tournament, a little bit about how things are shaping up there and kind of who your opponents will be there moving forward. And then we'll be at the state tournament from there. no doubt in my mind we can make us a run. So,
Oh.
very much wish you all the very best in that. And we thank Big Mike's Coffee Shop. We thank Johnson Entertainment and Staging for their sponsorship of our coaches show. Again, I'm Jamie Shell here with the Avery Journal-Times. Thank you, Coach Phillips and Coach Phillips. And again, thank you so much for watching. Look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, so long.